Hello, everyone. How we doing? Uh, we're going to be talking this evening with Jason Crager. He's the creator of Hammer, which is live on Indiegogo. He has already achieved funding, and so we're going to be pushing into some of those stretch goals that he has lined up. I've seen the campaign myself. It's beautifully put together. The artwork looks fantastic. He has some handmade sculpts that are in this particular campaign, and this project looks great. So if I got an opportunity to talk with him, and so yeah, all right. So we're definitely going to let's see what we got here. Yeah. All right, we're going to do our show opener, and then we're gonna bring Jason in.
Welcome, sisters and brothers in arms. We honor those who follow the old, nearly forgotten, code of honor. Our metal we wear proudly, like the scars we earn to keep our magnificent sovereignty. Our reverence to each other is only matched by our incorruptible allegiance to our morality and ideals. Warrior kings and queens sit blooded in thrones of shattered bones. Lives are but fragile drops of rain. We all fall down vehemently, yet we remain inevitable. For truth to victory, for honor infinitely, we uphold the code and embody it with a quality example. We are mighty. We are unwavering. We are inexorable.
All right. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Jason in. Jason Crager, how you doing?
Howdy, how are you today?
Hey, I'm just fine. It's so good to have you today. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was looking at this campaign Hammer. I would like to jump right into that and share right away and start talking about this campaign. I loved the artwork when I saw it be posted on Twitter, and so I want to jump into that a little bit and show some of the viewers what we have. I already have this tab open here, so yeah, this is great. Post Ragnarok Tale by Jay Crager. Now you're the writer and creator of this, correct?
I'm the writer, the artist, and the inker and the creator, yes.
So you're a one-stop shop. You do it all.
I did this all. I could officially say this is a fully one-person almost campaign. I did have a few people pick up some of the, duties of like doing me a special cover like Joe Benitez, or, adding like a little story on the inside about Odin from like award-winning writer Dan Wickline, who did the freeze for Top Cow.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah, I like Top Cow.
I asked a few people to kind of round out the book. So what you're getting is a all-out experience. Like imagine buying Watchmen back in the day when it came with all that extra stuff and all the extra material in the back. It's kind of like that. That's what I thought of. Like get a 48-page book together, do like 28 pages of your story, then do like 6 pages of an extended story that happens like in the future, like in a 70s style, and then round it out with pinups and a 4-page story about Odin and like a double-page spread to round out that, and you end up with 48 pages real quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this artwork is beautiful. I love this in particular here. Alex too is as well, but all of the artwork is beautiful. There's a lot of different styles going on here, but it makes it very interesting to see different variants of the same character and to see
Right.
Yeah, so I love it.
That's
This
all
looks
the
great, man.
contributors, all the people who decided to do pinups and stuff. But the main 28-page story is all penciled and inked and written by me.
Fantastic. So you're doing this. This is in an inked version of the book. You opted not to do color.
Correct.
I
I
love the
just thought
artwork here.
the book looks too pretty in black and white to color it and kind of end up looking like everyone else. And I didn't want that to happen. So if I do color it ever, it's going to be very, like, it has to be special. It has to showcase the art and the colors, and it has to be for a reason. And, I may have to throw some stuff out there into the Twitterverse and see who the best colorists are out there and throw a page at them and see what happens.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I know quite a few talented colorists. A lot of guys have done some professional work and have decades of experience. And so, just let me know. I mean, if you go online, feel free to put it out there onto Twitter or whatever. But if you're looking to
Nice.
hire, I mean, there's all kinds of different. I'm sure if you let it out, put it out into CG, like there'd be people who might want to collaborate and just do it and try to secure the job. But I like with the guys that I know, they're pay only. But they're
Right.
legit. So if you want something done, you can go that route. You've got options. So
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
fantastic, man. Yeah, I love the looks of this campaign. I'd like to go ahead and play the. I'm gonna go and play the trailer real quick so that we have it for everybody viewing and for the playback too. I'd like to get into that. Who did your trailer?
I did.
You did. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently learned some video editing as well, just to try to have another tool in my toolbox.
Uh-huh. I did it from my phone.
You did. Oh, that's
I
fantastic.
did. It was done completely on my shitty fucking Android phone, man. Isn't
That's
that
awesome.
funny?
Yeah, that's awesome. So I mean, but it's also like for people who are watching, you see that you don't have to have a super rig to do this. Like, and I've heard a
Nope.
lot of people say that about like making film. There's people who make films on their phones and stuff too. I mean, use what you got.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing. Like, I do what I can afford, and then what I can't, I try to learn myself and try to do it
Right.
the best I can, and just do it. Just do it and
Right.
keep working. But yeah,
I
so I'm going
agree.
here.
Push forward.
Asgard has fallen. Ragnarok has come, and the mighty hammer Mjolnir is moving ever closer to Midgard. The hammer seeks a new master, this one in the form of a golden Valkyrie by the name of Star. Born of the wasteland, a scrapper now burdened with the mighty hammer, Star must survive insurmountable odds. She must rise to the challenge and take her rightful place among the old gods. Loki, the gritting god, and his loyal acolytes will raise Valhalla to gain the power of Asgard's most powerful artifact. And hell awaits.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love it,
Thank you.
Jason. Beautifully done, man. I love the narrative that you had for it, and it was good setup. And your artwork is fantastic. What's the name of the main character?
Star.
Her name
name
is
is
Star.
Star.
Okay, I heard it
Yeah,
from the video. I just wanted to double check, and the way that you draw her is beautiful. I mean, it's fantastic. I love the artwork. I can see why you don't really need to go color. Like, I think your line work is very solid, and so you're one of those guys, I think, that can just do that. Doesn't need the color to bring anything out. Everything's shadowed perfectly, and the expression it just looks beautiful. Love it, man.
Thank you. Thank you
welcome.
so much. Lots of hard work.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm primarily a writer. We were talking backstage about that, but I quickly learned that artists. I wanted to be able to respect, it and to see what artists do. And it's also a language when you're talking with artists. Not everybody can fully go off the script. Sometimes they need like a layout or something. And then at first I was unable to do that. And so I wanted to learn it as a tool, but I also wanted to learn it so that I knew the time that it would take to do those kind of things. It is time consuming to go over line work and sharpen it, tighten things up. It's a process. And so I wanted to at least get into it a little bit so I could respect what artists do. And it's very time consuming, and it's a skill that is hard to pick up. Not everybody can do it. Like, I'm not consistent or anything, you know. I use it for, like I said, it's more or less just for concept and for layout purposes, but
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
for sure.
anything helps when the writer, like I've worked with lots of writers, so when the writer can show me like exactly what he wants, even if it's a stick figure, that's
Yeah.
helpful. I and I appreciate them spending the time to actually like try to draw something out accurately in their head. I actually had a writer who he told me how he wanted the cover to be on the graphic novel. And I go, well, draw it out. And he spent 8 hours drawing out this like rudimentary drawing and like tracing over stuff of mine that he wanted to incorporate in it. And, inevitably he put too many elements into something and they all competed with each other and had no balance. And that just comes with actually like doing it a lot over a long period of time. Like I was telling you before, I'm a 28-year comic veteran. So I've been in the industry since my 20s and on and off. So there's rigorous standards that need to be kept to. And if I was going to draw a book on my own terms, it actually has to be like the best of what I can do. So I say practice hard. And if a writer, like yourself needs to guide the artist like that, do it, man. That's what you pay them for sometimes. And
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a contributing aspect to things, but if you pay them enough, an artist will do what he's told.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you're paying them, then and I haven't really run into a problem with that with professionals. That they'll do it. They want to make you happy. That's the thing. Like, when you're paying them, they want you to be happy with the job, the artwork. That's what the whole commission thing is based on. And so, but at the same time, you got to make it worth it, because if you're at, the frustrating thing for me was trying to get a concept across and I wasn't able to convey it, and I knew that they had to see it. I knew they had to see it, and I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that killed me, because for me, it's about artistic expression. So that's why I love this collaborative medium, because I love to write it and I love to orchestrate it and I love to see it, the finished product, and I want to see it the way that I imagined it. I have a plan when I start out. I have an outline before I start. I put a lot of time into every script, extra time into every script, whether I wrote it or it's somebody else's. I do a Q&A and do a write-up before I even start writing, to make sure I'm true to a person's vision as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because these works are important to whoever created them. But, they're important to me when I create them, and when other people create them, they love their work. And so you want to honor that. And it's the same for artists. I think people who are professional, they want to honor that for someone else when they're doing that.
It is. It depends on what position you're in, I suppose. Like I've been in positions where I have to kind of let the writer direct me. Not because I don't have a vision, but he does, right?
Right.
And then there's cases where writers come to me, and because they came to me, I usually have a little more leeway, and I go, can I change this character to this, or can I do this with it? And usually they allow me to kind of make it my own and play to my strengths. So it just depends on what position you're in. As I said, if you're being told what to do as an artist, you should be paid like properly. But if you come to somebody and have a collaboration that actually is more 50-50 and they let the artist do what they want, yeah, I'm okay with getting paid less, because I get to kind of do my thing, right? Get to play to my strengths, as opposed to trying to it's more of a collaborative effort at that point. But yeah,
That's
I
right.
see what you're saying with that other stuff. Yeah, whenever you can, even if you can look up reference on the internet, send it to your artist, and I bet you'll get better pages every time. So
That's right. Reference is very important. I went through, I was so dedicated to it. Well, just to let you know, I'm 38. So I started 8 years ago. I published my first novel and I've been working through the studio. So I started a little bit late. I was a laborer before then. And
okay.
so I just decided, well, a laborer that loved pop culture and loved movies and comics, and I'm an avid reader. And so I had that to start. And then at 30, I started and found the studio. So I wrote for them. I wrote a bunch of series for them and worked, and I took an internship. And so I worked with them for a year and a half, learned from some of their writers. They've got some guys that are professional writers. A fella I worked under worked as an intern at Valiant and Marvel. Um, and he's a professional writer, and so I worked with these guys and then learned how to draw, and I got referrals too. For a year and a half I worked on drawing, so they gave me pointers. I worked with Paris Cullins from DC, and my artist Joseph Arnold, and then my boss Jesse Hansen, who worked over at Marvel as an inker. And all of them, between the three of them, I got all the pieces that I needed to do artwork. So in a year and a half, uh, just to show you where I was, let's see where I was at and where I ended, just real quick. I may not have the old stuff, but I can show you like a couple of the newer pieces that I did that are, I mean, for a writer, like, let's see. Oh, here's a good one. This one is one I did for my kids. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and their Five Nights at Freddy's. So I penciled this here. And I
Nice,
mean,
man.
for a writer, I mean, the boys got me in shape. I think they spent a lot of time with me. Considering I went from stick figures, I had no art experience whatsoever. I mean, literally, I was drawing stick figures, and they got me from that to this. So being able to do layouts,
Yeah.
uh,
So you're going to get better and better and better. I mean, if you just went from stick figures to that, that's a huge leap.
that's
So
great. Yeah, I really appreciate them. Like, this is another piece I did. This is a pinup I drew. The guys inked and colored it, but I penciled this as well.
nice.
And so, but I'm a much better writer than an artist. I just did these so that I more or less Kurt Cobained it. Like, that's what I call it. Like I have one thing that I do that I'm good at, that I'm professional at, is the writing, and then the artwork. Like, you know how you did cover art and did these things, and did paintings. It was more just an expression for him. So that's the way
Okay.
I look at it myself. Like, I just want to do my own interpretation. Like, I drew this here too. I penciled this, and it was inked by the boys over at the studio. And then, like,
Nice,
obviously, and I'm
man.
not, those are just little pinups. Like, I'm not even consistent enough um, to do sequentials or anything. So I'm very envious of you guys looking at your work. Like, like, here's the inks. Let's do it so you can see that. Not to go too much in it. I'm excited. I like talking about all comics and my own artwork too. So I don't want
Nice.
to be rude. Sorry, man. I just
No,
get
it's cool,
excited talking
man.
about artwork.
You're not being rude.
Okay,
It's all
cool,
good.
man.
It's your
Cool,
show.
thanks.
You talk about what you want, man.
Talk about myself too much.
It's all good. So it's all part of the process of learning.
Yeah.
Since I kind of do all forms of art, it's all relative. You can
You
you
play any
can
music?
yes, I
You do?
do. I
Awesome.
do. I do. I could play guitar and drums and bass and a little piano. And
How important is music to your craft and creating artwork and comics?
it's not
It
not at
has
all.
nothing to do between the two.
Nope.
You
I
don't like to
do.
listen to music while you do the artwork?
I typically don't. Nope. I
You don't?
won't. I'll listen to a movie, and the movie might have a soundtrack in it. But mostly, I just listen to words. Like I like listening to podcasts and things like that. Even though I'm a musician, I haven't played music in years. It's not that important to me anymore. I had to make a choice between, taking art seriously or taking music seriously, and I'm a better artist and writer than I am a musician.
Well,
And
you're a damn good artist and a damn good creator. That's so that I think it was a good choice, man. I've never heard you play, but uh, I definitely stick with the artwork because I love the way that campaign looked.
well, I appreciate it, man. It's I don't I don't I had a band once many 20 years ago, and that was a long time ago, man. And I played rhythm guitar back then and learned how to play drums just hanging out at the studio. And we did a record. It was terrible. It was pre-internet, so it was never released. It's all kind of rock and bluesy stuff. Like it was just kind of jam bandy type stuff. So
Yeah. Hey, I can
you know,
relate with that. I did the same thing in my 20s. We had a bunch of jam band stuff going on. It was mostly just party house stuff. Like
right,
I had a couple of friends that had rigs set up in their house, and they do weekend deals, and everybody just jump in and play different instruments and just whatever, no plan, just get messed up
exactly.
and play. And so yeah, I did a bunch of that. And I went to school for computer information systems because I wanted to make CGI graphics for music because I love music so much and playing guitar and vocals um, and those kind of things. And none of it ever really worked out. It never hit the spot. Like
Right.
with the CIS, I mean, we're talking, what is it, almost 20 something years ago when I went to college, like, the technology was different. So you had to have a team of like 400 or 500 people to make a production, make a game or make a something. And I was just like, I don't want to
Right.
sit here at a cubicle, like, and 1010, just do this tedious shit to have a small piece in the creativity I want to create. And that's why I like music, because I could write and play. And so writing just kind of hit that note for me. You feel that
That's
way, like being in control
yeah.
of your project, one man and your project. It kind of hits that, satisfies that creativity note, huh?
It can. Back in the day, I would have written a song about my stuff, but it's just I find that music has a weird emotional catalyst that's tied to it, and when my emotions don't serve me, I cast them away. So it's one of those things where I kind of feel like uh, music can alter people's lives in certain ways. Like, let's say you're grieving and your let's say your kid has passed away, and a certain song reminds you of your child, and you go and you get up and you're having a good day so far, and you go to work, and as you're on your way to work, you hear this song that reminds you of your kid. You absolutely become a blubbering idiot, can't even like go to work that day because this catalyst is attached to this grief. And I stopped playing music because of shit like that. So
Yeah, the
that
soundtrack
was,
of your life,
yeah, fuck that thing, by the way. Like, I don't want a soundtrack to my life. And I try not to, like, I buy records every once in a while, but I only play certain records certain times because I don't want to be stuck in an emotional gravity well. And that's what happens. That's what music is. It kind of creates this weird emotional gravity well if you attach something bad to it. And I would rather try to have a normal day and move forward. Like, I have enough grief that's attached to music that I literally have to avoid certain things on certain days. So I that's why I stopped playing music also. There's a soundtrack to your life, and that thing is freaking real. And yeah, I don't want to be stuck in the gravity well of my life like
Now,
that.
for me, when I quit, the reason why I quit music is I couldn't get anybody to get serious because I wanted to do originals and I had stuff written and I wanted to push and practice and try and do something. And nobody was motivated to do that. They were like, oh, well, we're just going to hang out. And I got my kids this and, this and that. So either they had other commitments or nobody wanted to fully commit and put that time in. So sometimes you get together and play and people do a few things, but nobody could really,
Right.
nobody could go full tilt, and I had a hard time making that happen with work and with my own kids. So that was what ended it for me. Music is by far my it's probably the way I connect my soul to my work, and it's not so much like for me personally, because obviously it's subjective, so it affects everybody different. But for me, rocking out while I'm typing a script is where I'm at. I have music playing. I all the favorites. Usually it's good feeling music, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
But I've never felt personally attached to it in any way other than I just like the mood of the music and I just put that into my work. And I tend to listen to things that are matching scenes that I'm writing, and those kind of things. And I've listened to all different types of music. I love all something from every type of music. So,
Right.
uh,
I can relate to that. Like if I'm like recently I had to write a script for a short movie, uh, like a little short, a little 12-minute short. And it had to have a certain tone and beat and tempo to it. And I totally relate to that. I wrote to the idea of the music I wanted to hear during it, because the music hadn't been created yet. But
right.
I was able to kind of pace stuff out well enough in my head that I think I can get it to work. But yeah, I I I do that sometimes too. Like I'll hear a good song and be like, a good fight scene would be good during this song, or
Yeah, yeah,
like shit like that. So that's always fun.
yeah, man. And I think for me, it was easier to visualize because, like I said, I'm raw when I started, and I worked with the guys, but a lot of it comes from my favorite stories. I think I have good instincts on movies and media that have done very well, as well as books that have done very well. So listening to those songs, almost imagine like what the soundtrack of it, and try to vision it as a film while I'm writing it. So that
Right.
way, I'm imagining these scenes, and I'm imagining. Uh, Yeah, and so, I mean, that's been working okay. That's just the fun of it. I like to go in there because in a way, writing for me is a type of escapism. Even if it's
Right.
my own stuff, like maybe not read. I love to read other people's stuff. I got a stack pulled here like this deep that stuff I've been reading, pull out some novels and like stuff like that. But when I'm writing my own stuff, I like to use it as escapism. It's also rewarding because I'm creating something. So yeah, yeah. So I get into it. Yep.
Testify HD. Your next Ryan Palmer.
Who's Testify?
I don't know. Testify HD. I don't know that person.
Yeah, I
What
don't
are
either.
you What are you next for?
I don't
You're
know,
next.
man.
You're next in line to draw some really cool stuff. You're
I think
next in line
I
to
think he's
write
the future.
something cool.
I want to say he's the future president of my fan club. That's probably what he's talking about.
Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully,
So
yeah. Nice, nice. Uh,
yeah,
so yeah, art and the campaign has done fairly well, and
yeah, I see that.
I'd hoped to push it to the 15K mark, but I don't think it's going to make it. I think it might make it to 10, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an impressive campaign. You got $8,700 there, 126 backers. You got 12 days left, so
Right.
there's plenty of time to promote and push. Um, and I know there's lots of people who'd be interested in having something like this in their collection. Like I said, I mean I'm a fan of the artwork already.
Thank you.
All the
Thank you.
different
Yeah,
styles. Yeah, it's
thank
so
you.
cool. And the cover image. Who did you have paint this? Did you do these art pieces here? The villain,
Oh, yeah, that's me.
the Loki. That's you. Okay.
That's my pencils, my inks. Those are all me.
Okay.
All me. All me.
Yeah, I like this
That's
image.
Joe. That's me.
It's fantastic.
That's those are all my sculpts. That's
the
Mark
painting you painted.
Beecham. That's a Mark Beecham painting that he
Dig
did
it.
for me. That's going to be a print that you get with your order. And then that painting right there is something I did.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I dig it. And you can see the celestial scene behind the eye. That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's very cool.
I dig the design.
I like it, man. Yeah, you
Thank
could
you.
definitely do more in 12 days. I think you can get some more backers with this. I like this painting right here, too.
Yeah,
That's beautifully
Alex
done.
Tuez. Yeah, he did a really good job.
I like the
he's-
earthy tones in it.
Right. He hit the tone. There's atmosphere to it for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. And the lightning bolt, too. He did a good job coloring that.
He did.
You said he painted it? Let me see.
It's computer painted, so
Okay,
it's
so it's a
done
digital paint.
digitally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still cool though. Yeah, it's the same. Lots of people do that, man. Like 98% of the industry is digital coloring. I mean, or digital paint and Photoshop. So
Some of
just at
it,
the speed, like doing it by hand is nice because you get a piece you can sell, but it's not feasible, especially if you're looking for speed or you're doing a lot of books. And so,
yeah, a monthly book is really hard to do when it has to be done physically, and especially if you're doing it yourself. So, uh, yeah, I can agree with certain aspects of that. I physically draw and paint and do all that stuff, so I've very rarely digitally color something unless it was like that Joe Benitez cover. So I had to color that for the book. So
but everything else is all done traditionally. So you're going to have all the original pages with your campaign as well.
some of it was done traditionally. I did the first 2 pages traditionally completely, and then I took all my pencils, threw them in the computer, and digitally inked the rest.
Oh,
So I did that, but I don't digitally paint stuff typically. Like I won't, if I want an oil paint, I'll oil paint something. Like if I want to watercolor something, I watercolor it. Like if I want to, draw a picture of a gorilla on toned paper and color it with Prismacolors, I'll do that. So like stuff like this,
let me see.
like physical artwork done on gray paper, just scribbled out, right?
You can see it's on a piece of notebook paper. I can see.
Yeah, it's
out of the
gray.
Oh, it's
gray
like gray.
paper. It's gray binding Strathmore paper that's been
Oh, I see.
drawn and airbrushed and messed with. So it's a
I like that.
I like physically doing things if I'm gonna paint it. I it's not that I won't digitally color something. I just prefer doing it for real.
Well, there's something to be said about having something physical in your hand when you're done. I think the same goes for customers as well. Having, that's why I mentioned is because with your campaign, I was wondering, I didn't notice if there was any original pages, original artwork that people are going to be able to grab, like something that's limited, something that's rare from your campaign.
I gave those away to $100 backers and above.
You did. Okay.
The 2 physical pages that I inked completely. I have all the pencils, but I think I'm going to keep them. And I think for the second campaign, I'll physically draw and ink every page, and then I'll offer them up in the second campaign.
That sounds great. Yeah, because I mean, I think they like to have something physical in their hands, as far as, and I do as well. Having a piece of artwork that the artist touched, something that they've created that's unique, that's one of a kind. When you do it that way, it's something unique that only you have. A lot of people are interested in getting pages for the same reason. And I'm not sure what we're going to have for original stuff with my campaign yet, because we're still putting it together. Most of it's going to be done digitally, though, just because a lot of the guys that have commissioned to do the work are working on other books, and they have to be able to do speed, and there's just not going to be any time to do everything traditional. So we need to be able to do that in a bit. But they're very talented, so it's worth it for that reason. But I'll put something together and see if I think it's gonna be a fun campaign. Just the same.
Cool, man.
And just like
well,
this
looking
one,
forward to see it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, actually, while I have you right here, could I get your opinion on something really quick?
Sure.
Check it out. Here, I got something that I did. It's for I decided to do a pre-campaign for my book campaign. Okay, and I was inspired the stuff we were talking about backstage when I got into some of the guys on Twitter. I got called a grifter. Someone made a statement that Comicsgate is a few guys making a bunch of money, and everybody else is just trying to put out as many poorly made books as they can before the grift wears off. Okay, and I was like, what the? But I just used it as an opportunity to create more, and so I made this campaign. It's called Griftergate 2020. And I've got a piece of media here. I just want to run it by and see what you think. Okay.
Okay.
It's just my first crack at it. The slogan is subject to change. 'Cause, 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 Yeah, let's see what we got. Note right here. There, now I realize that now I realize that the slogan might need a little bit of work. But other than that, what do you think? I do like the idea that if people could just shut off their brains and turn on their wallets, I mean that would be, I mean the money would just flow at that point, wouldn't it?
I suppose it would. I mean, if
That's a
it's
terrible joke.
yeah, it kind of is. But that being said, like I think we should look into like forms of hypnosis and
Perfect. I wish I would have thought of that.
yeah, you need to start thinking bigger at that point. Like
I like the idea. I like that because I like the idea of taking the responsibility of them shutting off their own brains out of their hands and then just controlling it myself. That way.
No,
Well,
that
that's
doesn't
not
work.
what hypnosis does? Okay.
No, you have to. Well, see, you're not with hypnosis. You're not really taking over anything anyway. It's
suggesting
like
it.
you're suggesting it, but there's an underlying base that has to go with it. Like if you can do that, then yeah, they will open their wallets. They'll just give you stuff and forget afterwards. But you
Now,
know,
is there
that's
anything to this black magic thing that Alan Moore and Grant Morrison have been talking about, or do you think that's a bunch of hogwash? Because
well,
if I had
being
magic
some-
powers, I'm absolutely sure that I could make this happen.
So, being a person who studied medieval black magic,
Huh.
I think that they think it happened to them. I think that they put a lot of credence into the idea that if, like Grant Morrison said, he started writing things and then things started happening in his life that ran adjacent to them. And as far as Alan Moore goes, Alan Moore is a, practicing ritualistic magic user.
Yeah, he is.
Do I believe that he believes what he sees? Yes. Do I think he sees anything? If I was in the room, no. I don't. I'm not a practicing magic user, but I studied it for like 20 plus years. And
what did you draw for a conclusion? Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, they never really. It's like anything. If you believe in something enough, it can be real to you. Do I think that they tapped into some weird ether or something and it's created success for them? No, I don't think that's happened at all. I think Alan Moore has made a career out of breaking things down to their smallest component and then writing and building it back up in the process. I think that's what he likes to do. Like a scientist or a magic user, he likes to break ideas down fundamentally and see where they take him. If that's magic in his writer special brain of his, then I'm down with whatever that is. That's fine. To yarn a story is magic. To create art is magic. I get it. I get what they're saying. But do I think that they like conjured things and made them successful? No. Do I think they can lean into it like any religious person and go, well, God helped me do that? Well, yeah, they could say that, but I'm a hardcore atheist. Not that I have any problem with anybody thinking anything,
Yeah, there's no judgments, man. No, keep
but
going. You're doing great.
but as far as I've gone through in my life and all the things I've read about and everything else, I the only thing that they ever saw was probably in their own mind. And if that's what it took for them to validate that idea, then I guess who am I to say that that was wrong for them? And if he thinks he's a fucking wizard, then he's a fucking wizard, man.
I guess whatever he says, be whatever the fuck you want to be, you know?
Right. I mean, at that point, and yeah, that sounds pretty crazy, right? But you got to look at the person. He has literally his worldview comes from a single place, and it's Northamptonshire in England. Everything, his writing, Voice of the Fire, the first novel that he wrote, literally is a compendium on Northamptonshire from like 5000 BC or before, even before that, like 10,000 BC, all the way to modern time and then into the future. And it's all placed in one single place. And then Jerusalem, that takes place in the same place also. And he's never moved from there. He lives actually in a house right around from his childhood home. So literally his worldview is this, right? So his imagination is priceless though. Okay. Like if you're going to take it there, take it there. And I think because of that, because he put himself in a box, it allowed him to expand himself in other ways. And I knew.
Yeah. I mean, some people speculate that maybe his blotter was printed on paper towels, but I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe he expanded in ways that you never know, man. I mean, personally, I thought it was funny that people would create like that and then think that they're a fucking warlock. I've seen coincidences with stuff that I wrote and things that happen. Am I superstitious? No. You know what I mean? It's the things that happen. But it was definitely things that would make you think, like if it's stuff that lines up and happens. But I mean,
right.
I think the most interesting thing that I ever got out of people who claim those kind of things, or specifically we're talking about Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, is that words are very powerful. Words and the human imagination are the most powerful forces in creation. Because with the English language and words, so much can be accomplished, and with our imagination, so many things have been invented, and so many more things are possible all the time. All of these people thinking and coming up with new ideas. So it's definitely a powerful force. Is it magical? No, it's just something it's a part of life, and some people are better at it than others.
So keeping that in mind, that all words are powerful, people should watch their words, right? They shouldn't be flung at other people in whatever prospect, right? If words are powerful, like you were just saying, then they shouldn't be used in a way to break something else down, unless it's done in a way that's going to be constructive. And I see that a lot too in this day and age. Like, here's the thing. If free speech is free, then why would you feel guilty about saying something bad to somebody? And having responsibility for the words that come out of your mouth are the only thing that you literally have control of.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, honestly, as far as I can be responsible for my own words, but I can't be responsible for how other people react to them. So, you got to understand that that's the way I can control my words, but the way other people react to it could be different. It could be anything, you know what I mean? And so a lot of times there's people out there who are very good at being shit stirrers and pushing buttons. And, I'm good at keeping my cool, but, sometimes when people cross the line, you do have to speak up for yourself. I've always believed in that. So I think there's a
that's-
line there, like you said. I mean, there's a line of not being trounced on and not being a dick, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can say that words don't have meaning, but they fucking do. And if magic means that words have meaning, then they're powerful in a way that nothing else is. So read Promethea. If you've never read the whole of Promethea, that teaches ritualistic magic. The whole issue from beginning to end explains magic fully in 30 like 2 issues or something like that. 30 issues.
I'll
So
have to check that out.
if you want to learn something about how Alan Moore sees things, read Promethea.
Promethea or Prometheus?
No, Promethea, a woman.
Okay.
Yeah, ends with an A, the female version.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure. I'll check it
you
out. It'll be
won't-
interesting.
you won't regret it, bud. I promise you.
And I'm a
Like-
level-headed guy. I can handle it. I promise you, Jason. I won't go down the rabbit hole. I'll just view it from a safe distance. And
It's not going to hurt you, buddy. I promise.
okay,
I
good.
promise it won't hurt you. It's not going to be something. It's a comic book, man, and it literally
Okay.
tells you how words work. It was printed. It's a comic book that he wrote. I believe John Williams drew it. J.W. Williams drew it.
Oh yeah.
It's really freaking good, man. Like it's about a woman who's a writer, and in order for her to turn into her magical self, she has to write like a poem, something that gets her to change. And she starts changing, and this religious group brings about the apocalypse, and she's forced to deal with it in a different way than how it's normally dealt with. She deals with it from the magical end of things, and they go fully into what Hebrew magic is and the Rosicrucian stuff. It's beautiful, man. You'll learn a lot. It goes through all the tarot. It explains to you everything and what they mean and how she understands it. You'll enjoy it. It's a really well written piece of work. And if anybody ever wanted to learn in a safe way what magic really is and what it's about and the thought process of it, read that comic book Promethea, and that pretty much is about as close as you'll ever get to understanding it without doing it. Like, I had to read a lot to understand the stuff that is explained in Promethea. So, and as he's explaining it to me, I had already read all that stuff. So I was like, oh my God, he's explaining it in a way everybody could understand. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. It took me years to understand that stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, I definitely have to check it out. You said you can get like digital copies online.
Ooh, I don't know. DC, I believe, was the one who printed them as a sub. I think it was First Something Comics. It was a subset of DC at the time after Wildstorm was bought. And oh man, yeah, you might be able to find it online. I just guarantee that you'll love it. If you like that idea and you have questions about those weirdos, and it's not that they're that weird, it's just it seems weird, read that, and I guarantee once you read it, your understanding of things will be like, oh, they're just normal guys who have a different thought process about how God works, or gods, or the eternal ether, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. No, that sounds very interesting. I mean, I wrote about a lot of those things as well. That those subjects always interest me, about knowledge and the unknown, and creating the unknown and then exploring it. So I always love those aspects of creation. So that's right up my alley. I'd love to check it out. Yeah, I mean, I was just talking the other day. Somebody made a post about. I made a post of something I was inspired by called. I call it Omnipotent Perspective, and it's having an omnipotent perspective whenever you view everything. Like, I think it was along the lines of what you were talking about having words carrying weight. And from my perspective, from this, it's more or less looking at everything as if we're a drop in the bucket and realizing that time is infinite, and that we still have a lot of time. Some people may not have as much, but you just got to look forward and realize that you are capable of great things, and look at things from that perspective rather than look at it like you need to react now. You need to do this now. You can be patient. You can look forward to great things, and it's basically just a philosophy that we're all capable of great things. Eventually, it doesn't make sense to me that everybody doesn't have the potential to do something amazing. As people get in that mindset, they feel like they're defeated, and to essentially to have an omnipotent perspective is to realize that you have greatness and to look at it from that point rather than from the ground. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not to let what's left of your ego dictate what's where you need to be. So it's usually, that's the biggest destructor of all, where you hype yourself up to do something and you fail at it, or in your mind you fail at it, right? You may not have failed at it because you had most likely predetermined expectations. Like I saw it said failed novelist on that thing, and let's say you are a failed novelist, okay? How would you fucking know it if you've only written one fucking novel, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, how would you know it if you haven't given it 10 plus years of essentially just putting it out there into the world and seeing what happens? It's all about perspective, like you were talking about, an omnipotent perspective, and on a long enough timeline, you could be right about everything, I suppose, but wouldn't you rather just be happy than be right about everything in the long run? Like,
yeah, I'm absolutely happy. That was more or less a joke. I did write a novel. And it got me into the studio where I was at. You have to have published work, although I hadn't found them at that point. Like I was just a lost writer. I didn't know what I was doing. That was I wrote that in notebooks and typed it up. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Wow. I just wanted to go for something. You know what I mean? I have nothing. I just was doing it. I didn't even plan on publishing it. I was just doing it as a passion project. Ended up publishing it, and then got in with these guys and we're doing the comic adaptation of it. And so and I worked hard and tried to get in shape, even though I started late. But that's where the joke of it is I fully realized that, to me, it wasn't a failure because, I mean, obviously I like money. I'm not retarded, but it wasn't so much about making money. It was about the experience of it and starting something. And that's why in the short intro that I have Legacy Genesis there. My father was big on philosophy. And so him and I used to have big conversations. And so I love to do that and find out new things and inspire other people if I can, or even these things inspire myself. Like Legacy Genesis is this idea that we're all destined for greatness. And it depends on our own choices how we get there, whether we're able to get there or not. And when you do find that great success that's unforeseen in the future, in hindsight, you're able to look back at that moment and see the beginning where you made that one critical choice that set you on the path that got you there. And so Legacy Genesis is the realization that point may have happened, or it could be happening to you at any time, and to look at life that way, to appreciate those little moments, those little choices where you did something positive, or you created something that you enjoyed. Look at those moments as the beginning of something bigger. And so, so it's so I don't feel like it was a big. As
a creative, that's a good perspective, man. Like,
thanks, man.
I mean, if you can hold on to that as like it's a creationist idea that is just moving you forward. You created this world, you can create more. You can make them bigger. You can make them better. You can add to them. You can do all that. So yeah, nice, man. That's good. That's a good thought process. It's like being positive. It's like The Secret, like Oprah's pimping The Secret. But the secret is to keep doing it until somebody notices you.
Yeah, that's right. To not give up, because like a great example, somebody that everybody knows, Stan Lee, right?
Right.
How did he know that Fantastic Four was going to start all of this afterwards? But that critical moment when everything was, I mean, who knows if they embellished the story really to corroborate that would be pretty hard now. But like the way the story goes is everything they were repoing furniture out of Marvel and things were going bad. And he wrote Fantastic Four for whatever reason, ended up creating it and doing the book that he wanted to do, and it was a smashing success and started all this other stuff. So, but how did he know in that moment that that was going to be the piece that changed the direction of Marvel? How do you know until you look back at it? And that may have been that legacy genesis that allowed him to create all of these amazing things. And if he wouldn't have stuck with it for however many years before he even published that, I mean, any decision along that line, who knows, we may not have gotten it, or we might have got something else. So, yeah, so recognizing that I thought was it's interesting.
It's very possible, but it would have been in hindsight, obviously, that he would have known that. Like,
That's
there's
right.
no way to know that something's going to change your life. You can affirm to yourself that it's going to change your life, but until we can look into the future, there's no way to really tell. You can get struck by a car walking out the fucking door. You don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
I like the idea of holding on to the fact that you could be making a great decision like that anytime, to treat it as such is inspiring to me anyway. And I love the process of it anyway, but I like to think in those terms, and I touch into a lot of things about multiple universes with the stuff that we're writing, and knowledge, and it was like I said before, I like to create the unknown and then explore it. And so that's a fun process for me as well. Try to find things that nobody has touched on, ideas, and then go into them and twist them and see what comes out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this real quick. I got to get back with the family, Jason, but this has been great. I appreciate you coming by today.
I appreciate it too. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, you've been great. You're an intelligent guy and you're a very talented artist. I love talking with you, man. And this project looks great. Let's go into this here and Hammer, a post-Ragnarok tale by J. Crager. So it says here, Mad Max meets Nordic gods in a knockdown, drag-out fight to dominate the 9 realms. So this is inspired by Norse mythology. The Hammer, Mjolnir, finds our hero, and we've got some beautiful artwork in here. We've got some hand sculpted stuff by Jason Crager as well. If you get a chance to get over to Indiegogo and back a project, this is done in black and white. It's all done by Jason. The artwork looks beautiful. Look at the dynamics of that. I love that perspective there too. That's good. And this right here is fantastic. Look at that. Why wouldn't you want to have that in your collection? That's beautiful. So going back, Hammer. It's on Indiegogo. It's live now. Jason Crager, thank you so much for coming by, bud.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Have a good night, bud.
All right, you too. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for coming.